I'm Leather Rokk. Welcome to my channel. I hope I seem bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to you today, but I'm really not up to par, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm filming this, it is now 6:26 p.m. I got kind of a sluggish start today. I got very little sleep. Well, hello, always. But the reason for this happened is because I thought that it was important to be loyal to a friend, or rather two friends, and let me tell you the story. So last night, if you, maybe you were one of the people that tuned in, you noticed that I did a live stream. I didn't have any intention of staying up nearly as late as I did last night because I didn't want to ruin whatever it was I wanted to do today. Matter of fact, I was just about to wash my face and go to bed. And it was a much earlier time than I normally do, because sometimes the body lets you know that it's ready to shut down. And I was just about to wash my face when I went in to check on my mom first, make sure she had water, whatever. And she said, "Oh, by the way, such and such a friend called, but I told him that you were asleep or whatever." But she had his number in her phone, and she knows how to bring up, because she has this cordless landline extension that has an inner menu. And anyway, I never did figure out how to work it. So she dials him up, and he basically says that he and his buddy, another person I know, Jose, wanted to come in. They needed a place to stay. They were messed up, and it was too late to get on the bus, or whatever the story was. I said, okay. They want to know if they could sleep on my stairwell. Since I no longer have the van man there and everything, if they can make themselves comfortable. Plus I was thinking I was even going to sneak them in that one room that's my mom has been doing her exercises in, right? So they said that they would be by. And this was at 10:30 at night, all right? And so I'm thinking, all right, I know it takes a while for the one guy to walk from one casino to here because he walks with a cane and he has pain issues. But I also have to keep in mind, I don't know how many beers he'd had throughout the day. And this is one of those people that probably, I don't know if he drinks every day, but he is a big guy, and you can't really tell. For years I had no idea that he was drunk so much, and I honestly didn't notice because he wasn't one of those loud, obnoxious, sloppy drunks or something. All that he did, the worst he ever did was fall asleep. He was never a person to be aggro or obnoxious or whatever. He's kind of quiet and unassuming, but he just happens to be a big guy, and he's a friend of mine, right? And I don't want to, if there's anything I can do to help somebody to keep them from being on the street, or I know how I have been in similar situations when I was tired, my brain was just ready to shut down, and I just needed to get in somewhere off my feet and rest. It's a psychological need, and it's a physical need. And when you're in a position where you can actually be there, when I don't have to ask permission, a lot of times I'm just a guest at somebody's house, and I can't say, "Oh, by the way, my friend is in blah 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 need." I am grateful that I am in a position where I can help, but sometimes I feel like there's a circus somewhere, and there's a bunch of clowns around, and I guess I'm the safety net or something. And there's your tightrope walker there, and there's a succession of my acquaintances that are just, I can't see, it looks to me like they're living in a haphazard, precarious way, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just worried about their drinking. I don't know, but anyway, I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I figured when I was sure that they were going to be here, because I realized that my friend takes longer to walk than my mom does. And I allow for the fact that if you're taking a boardwalk, for instance, you're probably going to run into a bunch of buddies, and you're going to be shooting the shit with this one and that one. Plus, if he has alcohol in him, and I was 99.9999% sure he was, then that's going to affect your sense of time. And I don't think any real malice was intended, but the thing is, all this time, when I decided to start the live stream, I figured he was going to be here any minute. I had already heated Mom's dinner, not on camera, but I served her dinner, so I had that responsibility taken out of the way. I was still starting to get tired. I really wanted to wash my face, take a shower, and go to bed. But I was waiting on my friend because I didn't want to just all of a sudden have him show up and me be so tired that so the doorbell gets ignored and whatever. I had Facebook on even during when I was doing the live stream. So if anything had blinked, that's when Messenger goes off or something. I would have known. And I could have even seen if he left a message right while I was talking. And as a matter of fact, I would have been able to see out my window because where I'm standing to film here is right behind a window so I can get the most light. So, but he never called. 10:30, he was supposed to be on his way. 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. By 3:30, I think that's about the time that I may have stopped my live stream. I ended the live stream. I mean, I was grateful for the people I got to talk to, and I'm not going to say it wasn't enjoyable, but so much of it was, and I had led my audience to expect that they were going to get to see a house party, and believe me, it would have been fun. It would have been lively. You know, when my drunk friends show up and everything, they do have a certain personality, and just because their alcohol issues doesn't mean that they're otherwise not intelligent people. But, and plus, again, when I get the chance to affect a person's stability, in other words, if I get a chance to give somebody comfort and stuff, I'm going to jump on it because I know the many times when I've been lucky to receive the roof, the place to sleep, whatever, and you really need to share. And you want to be there with your friends. I want to be known as somebody that you can count on. I believe in loyalty, but what is it with so many people? I realize when you're drinking you're not thinking, but I'm telling you, I was starting to get resentful too because I was getting tired. I said, look, I have things to do, and it's one thing if I'm staying up late because I'm enjoying the process, because I'm getting things done, I'm, working a lot, maybe creating a lot, whatever, and if I realize there's a chance for sacrificing a bit of tomorrow's productivity for the burst of energies and stuff, the things that I'm doing. I pulled all-nighters before, and I've still gotten things done. But when I'm waiting on other people, and I've told them that I have this security, look, you could stay here, and I was planning on putting them up in that big room so long as they were quiet and left before the person with the sleeping pill thing wakes up, because that would cause like some kind of World War III, even though I still want to be there for people. But yeah, I'm dragging today and not getting things done because I wasted a bunch of time waiting on people that didn't even have the courtesy to say, look, Leathur, I'm too fucked up now, I can't make it, or whatever. If your drinking is such a big thing in your life that it's causing you to totally be irresponsible with your interpersonal relationships, especially with the people where you have every reason to go and do what you said you're going to do, because there's obviously something in it for you. If housing and protection and shelter and all those things aren't enough motivation to be where you said you're going to be, you're making a human being wait. This is making me sick. It's compromising my health. It's compromising my it's messed up. Oh gosh. Some people should do better. And anyway, that was my video for today. And I knew when I was going through this, I said, that son of a bitch, and things like this always give me something to make videos about, because there's no shortage of talking about people and their assholey behavior, especially when fueled by alcohol. All right, don't have alcohol-fueled idiotic behavior, okay? I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.